Well, I'm joined by the one and only Aaron Chalmers, OG of Geordie Shore, mixed martial artist, boxer, kickboxer, former good guy, current good guy, father, former rigger out in the North Sea. I mean, where do I go with this, Aaron, really?
Where does it end? I feel like the older I get, the more things I seem to be getting under my belt. So yeah, mate,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm like I say, I don't miss the rigging in the North Sea, that's for sure. But yeah, fighter. I think fighter's where I found me home, and hopefully we've got a good couple of years still left in the tank.
Well, obviously, the rigger on the North Sea and the kickboxing, actually, that takes us right back to the start. You got national fame through being on Geordie Shore, the good guy in many ways, so popular. You've got a
Yeah.
massive social media following as a result. You've been very open with your personal issues, with drink, with anxiety. You know, you're mature now. You went into MMA. You had a run in Bellator and with Bama, and now you're boxing.
Yes.
What is it? What's the draw for you into fight sports all the time then?
I think first of all, it keeps us on the straight and narrow. I think now, like you say, I'm a little bit older now. I look back at it at the MMA stuff, and I was given such a huge platform, and I wouldn't say I messed it up because I think I done very well considering how long I had been in the game, but I know that I could have done a lot better than I did. So the reason I'm still hanging around the fight game is because I'm 35 years old, but I'm probably fitter than I've ever been.
Mm.
I'm 100% dedicated in training. So yeah, and I still think, like you say, I've got a huge fan base from Geordie Shore. I think I was a popular guy on there, and I
You will.
still think there's a lot left. There's a lot left in the tank when it comes to fighting because the way the fighting world seems to be going, i.e., your Jake Pauls, your Logan Pauls, that kind of thing. There's plenty left for me out there before I hang up my boots, my MMA gloves, my boxing gloves, whatever I need to hang up. I still think there's a good two, maybe 3 years left in there to get those kind of fights.
So you would like? I mean, you've had your pro debut, haven't you?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, you're a free agent, I take it, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Um, so you crisscross fights with KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury. Even are those fights you'd all like?
100%. So a little story for you. The reason I started the boxing in the middle of lockdown, I met up with the people that represent Tommy Fury. We had all signed to fight Tommy Fury. This was the reason I got into the boxing. But when I signed to fight him, I had never set foot in a boxing gym. So kind of it was not in my favor to get in there after 8 or 10 weeks. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have a license. I wasn't training. I hadn't trained for about 8 months. So when I got home, obviously I let the dust settle of the excitement. Oh, I'm going to be fighting Tommy Fury, and I was like, I don't know how to box. Well, I thought I did. Sorry, that's wrong. I thought I knew how to box. Then I went down to Adam Booth's, and Adam Booth was just like, two things. If you want to stay in this gym, you have to live like a professional. That's when I stopped drinking. Well, I stopped drinking about the week before. And two, you're not fighting Tommy Fury for your first fight because it's a mismatch and you don't know how to box. That was 22 months ago. So now I've been around that gym a long time, and I feel like the Tommy Fury fight, because of how it's going with him and Jake Paul, he's pulled out twice for whatever reason. I feel like an English version would be me versus him. I think that would be a good fight. I think he needs a fight because he hasn't fought for so long. I'm on the back of my first win, so why not? I got into the fight. I got into the business of boxing to fight him. So it's something before I quit. Sorry, not quit. Before I retire, that's the fight I would love to have. And then obviously, if I get that fight, then hopefully that opens the door to Jake Paul. And it'd be nice to settle to look back in a few years with a big paycheck and know that I've done that all for my family and enjoyed myself.
Is that at 175 pounds then? Would that be, do you think, at light heavyweight?
I would go up to light heavy if because I fought at 170 in MMA, so it's
Yeah.
no issue to me. It would be nice to do a whole camp, eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, afternoon snack. Do you know what I mean? It would be nice to train on a full stomach for 10 or 12 weeks. So I would have no trouble going up to that weight. Like I say, I fought at 77 in MMA, so it would be no trouble to me.
Tell me about the Adam Booth gym. Obviously, Mick Conlan's there. There's others there. Are you enjoying being around those guys, Josh Kelly and others?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I'm in a very privileged position, Gareth, because it's not a gym you can just walk off the street and be like, I want to be part of this team. Do you know what I mean? Um, Harlem, Mick, Josh, Abbas, these are the people that on a daily basis I can watch. And it's just like a lot of the gyms around the country have not got the talent in that Adam Booth's got. So obviously I just try and take little bits on a daily basis and watch and learn. And even though I'm older, I still watch. Probably take more in now than I would 10 years ago because I'm a bit older and a bit wiser. And do you know what I mean? I can have a good look and see that might work for me, that might not. So yeah, it's amazing. I get on really, really well with Adam. In Mick's fighting this weekend, actually, home
Yes,
show in Belfast.
yes.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to make it because the missus is ready to drop, so I can't be over there in case the baby comes.
It's child three with Talia, isn't it?
This will be my third, yeah, third, and I
Good.
reckon after this one it'll be so enough. That's enough. 3 in 3 years is enough for me, Gareth.
How does she feel about your fight career?
Well, as you know, Gareth, you've met Talia. I think she loves me in the training because she knows that's when I'm my best all round person. I'm a good partner. I'm a good father, and I'm just a nice person. Do you know what I mean? And she's been there through the bad times when I wasn't such a nice person. So to have her sticking around after everything, I think it just shows that the type of woman that she is and how much support she has for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us about. There's a lot of criticism of people with a big following called influencers or celebrities and so on. I mean, you and Tommy come into the same category in a sense that you're very well known by the British public for your starring roles in reality TV. But just explain for those poo-pooing the fact that influencers, reality TV stars, YouTubers shouldn't be in boxing, or why are they getting the opportunity to earn money in boxing? Just explain how hard it really is for all of you. That it's not just a joke, how hard it really is mentally, physically, emotionally, and how much you really have to put in it, and that you do deserve a place in the sport.
Well, to be fair to you, Gareth, I was the first influencer before any of them to cross over in air combat sport. Before the Jake Pauls and the Tommy Furies and anyone, I was the first person to dip my toes into MMA before it was even unheard. It was unheard of for an influencer to go across. In the shit that I got was unbelievable. But what they don't see is people just think we get a fight booked and that's it. I've lived away from my missus. I've had 2 kids in 2 years, and I've got my third on the way. And I've been down at a booth for 22 months, religiously, Monday to Friday for 22 months. Sometimes a long week or 2 weeks at a time, just staying there, just when Mick's in camp, when Josh is in camp, I just like to be around the camps to get the best out of my ability. So people looking out can say, oh, he's getting this fight and he's getting paid this, but he doesn't train. When really, I probably see Mick and Kurt, who I live with, more than I see me missus and me kids. Do you know what I mean? So that's the sacrifices that I'm making. But I can see why people do get angry, saying, "Oh, well, they've jumped the gun and what have you." But unfortunately, the world we live in now is social media powered, and the more followers you've got, the more eyes you bring into a sport. The more followers if you've got someone with 1,000 followers as a boxer and someone with 2.4 million, who's gonna do better when it comes to viewing. And unfortunately, that's the world that we live in, and that's why everyone seems to be jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, look at Jake Paul. I think he's one of the highest paid boxers last year. So he's not the highest paid boxer because no one's watching him. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like he's getting given money because no one's watching him. Everyone's watching him. I reckon 75%, maybe more, wanting him to lose. But at the end of the day, that was like me. People were booing when I walked out, but they're still sitting in that arena and they're still watching. So you've just got to take the rough with the smooth. Do you know what I mean? I feel like even if we weren't in the public eye, people want you to lose. No one likes to see people do well these days. And I think because we've got a bit of a platform, it's even more so that people want us to fail. But that's what kind of gives me the a bit more drive. Proving people wrong is kind of what
very
what
strong kind of power, then the motivation that
100%.
Yeah.
Like when I lost, some of the messages I was getting when I lost, like you don't want to hear their messages, getting told to kill myself and all this kind of stuff. And you know what it is? It's just words. It's just words, but it's nice to kind of get a win, get back on the winning trail, and kind of turn around and be like, "Fuck you." Do you know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing. The thing that powers me is me kids and me family. But it's always nice to stick the fingers up to the haters. Do you know what I mean? When you get the win.
When you're saying about the numbers, then the followers, how important that is, and it is important. Do you think, if you look at the lightweight division with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, Devin Haney, all these guys, because Ryan Garcia's got 10 million Instagram followers, do you think it does maybe make him the golden goose of that division in lots of ways?
100%. If you're looking at that division, right, and you're looking at who you want to fight, I reckon 9 times out of 10, most of them will pick Ryan Garcia because your pay packet is probably going to double. You're probably going to double your pay packet fighting Ryan than you would fighting Devin Haney
or Vasyl Lomachenko, yeah.
And that's just a fact, because Garcia brings many eyes to the sport because he's so Instagram, let's say, famous. Like a lot of people know Ryan Garcia because of Instagram. That's how I first come across him when he was doing the body shot challenge with one of the Paul brothers. So if boxing's not a long sport, fighting's not a long sport, so you have to make as much money as you possibly can. And if that means calling out the second best fighter over the first best fighter to make more money, then that's what you've got to do.
Yeah. Who wins out of Jake Paul and Tommy Fury?
Jake Paul.
Really? Why?
I just think he's more committed. He's got less to lose, because, as Tommy keeps calling him, a YouTuber. Like, you can't call someone a YouTuber when you're known for being on Love Island. That's the thing I don't get. I'm a reality TV person first and foremost that went into MMA and then went into boxing. So Jake's got nothing to lose. And then Tommy's last performance against Anthony Taylor, me personally, I thought it was I don't think it was a good performance. I don't think it was against a 5'6" or 5'7" wrestler. He's a wrestler from Bellator. So yeah, I just think Jake's got the edge. More so, I think he's in Tommy's head because he keeps calling him a YouTuber, but for some reason, twice now that the fight's been cancelled. So I don't know. Who do you think?
I think it's a very close fight. I'd say Tommy on paper, but
I also think Jake would hit harder than Tommy. Looking from the outside, looking at the pads, I feel like Jake, for the size of him, can really pack a punch. And let's not forget, you're probably talking 10 kilo difference in weight. If you look at the pro, like Tommy fights a light heavyweight, Jake fights it cruiserweight. I think it's about 10 kilos, is it maybe?
It is now. I mean, but he,
Yeah.
Was he right
lad
to refuse to fight Hasim Rahman Jr., who couldn't get below 210 or 215? Was he right to do that, or should he have gone ahead with it?
When you're the one who's making the whole show and paying the money out, really, Hasim Rahman should be the one bowing to all what Jake is asking. Probably the biggest payday of his life, like times 10. So when someone's asking you to make weight, that's all you've got to do. Do you know what I mean? If he was so confident about beating him, how he said he was beating him with one hand in the gym, then concentrate on making weight. But then I seen that Rahman's last fight, and he looked absolutely knackered. He couldn't keep his hands up when he got knocked out. So yeah, I feel like if the fight's made at a certain weight, then make that weight. Don't start coming in 2 weeks before and saying, well, why don't you fight us at this? He doesn't want to fight you at that weight because that's not what it was agreed at. We can all give or take a couple of pounds here or there, but when you're talking £15 or 10, whatever it was, 10 or £15, then no, he shouldn't took the fight.
What's your route to getting the? How are you plotting your routes to getting a fight with Tommy Fury and a fight with Jake Paul? And does one come before the other in your mind?
The thing is with me, Gareth, as you know, I'm not a loud, like, nasty person. I don't see that, like, social media going after someone, and obviously I know that's what you have to do sometimes, but as what I've seen of Tommy, I feel like he looks like a really nice person. He looks like a nice kid. It's just in my head that I want to fight him. So I feel like I need to get maybe one or two more boxing fights to get a bit of momentum, and then I can. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
sorry, mate. Yeah, I reckon I can one or two more fights and get some momentum, and then I think that'll come around. I think the only way I would ever get the Jake Paul fight is if by fighting Tommy first, because obviously Jake would be watching that, and that's the only way I think I would get that fight. But yeah, like I say, there's nothing against Tommy, but it's just a fight I would like for myself and to hopefully progress my career on a money point of view to get the Jake Paul fight.
Does Jake Paul ever come and fight in the UK, do you think? Is there a market here for it?
Yes, I think there is. I know there was a show a while ago of just YouTubers that sold. I think it sold out wherever it was, and I think YouTube all over the world is huge. So I think you would get a lot of YouTubers there. Yeah, I think you would do well. I think you would do well. But when you hold the key and you're paying the money for the shows, you can tell people where they are fighting. Do you know what I mean? So by all means, he's fighting in America until someone big enough can force him to go elsewhere.
So just tell us about what your plans are for like you say, you're home having your third baby at the moment. Then
yeah,
when's your plan to get out next then?
So apart from this week, I've took a week off. I'm still training once a day up home with Nick, who was in my corner. I know Adam Booth's got a meeting next week for us, so I'm hoping. What's it now? August. I'm hoping end of September and then another one December, even November. I'd like to stay active, and Adam knows that. With fighting 4 and 6 rounders, I would like to fight every 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm sure once I get that ball rolling, I think we could hopefully, fingers crossed, be looking at the Tommy Fury fight maybe March next year. That's what I'm going to aim
ready
for.
any time if that was
I'm ready. Listen, I've trained my arse off for 22 months. Like I say, I'm taking a week off now, which will do me no harm. It'll do us good to just relax, totally forget about the boxing, spend time with my family. But back in the gym next week, and I'll be ready to go in 6 to 8 weeks, and yeah, get back on TV, get the winning streak rolling, and I'm sure then big fights will start opening up.
And apart from that, you're doing a little bit of work in August with the PFL around their 2 events in Cardiff and London, 13th and the 20th in August. We may well see you on the TV working around that, yeah, with Brendan Loughnane, Kayla Harrison, all that group.
Yes, you know, I had a meeting with the PFL, as you know. Very excited to be working alongside them. They've got a project coming up, which I think is going to be big for a lot of people. They've asked me to be part of it, so I'm really looking forward to Wales, to watching Rory MacDonald, and then obviously on to London. I would love to see Brendan go all the way. I've known Brendan. I think Brendan was the first ever MMA fight I watched over in Dublin.
Yeah.
When he got beat, he got robbed by, I think he was fighting a French lad, and it was a bit of a robbery. So yeah, I would love Brendan to go all the way, and so alongside the boxing, yeah, I'm going to be working alongside the PFL. So who knows? You might see a return of the Joker in 18 months' time.
Brilliant to see you, Aaron, as always. Great to see you lively, healthy. Congratulations on the third child just about to come. And also great to see you back in the ring or even in the cage, whatever it's going to be.
Thanks, Gareth. Thank you for having us, as always, mate.